Just hours ago, the ex-wife of a La Jolla man accused of shooting her brother and another man this morning at their homes sat down with 10 News to talk about the recent troubles he had faced.
Do you think he went there to try and hurt you today? Do you think he went to your brother's house to try and kill you?
I think if I was there, I would not be sitting here today.
But despite that statement, Bonnie Fletcher told 10 News the violent acts her ex-husband committed today were not reflective of the man that she knew. 10 News reporter Dan Haggerty is now live at Scripps La Jolla, where Fletcher's brother is recovering. Dan.
Yes, Stephen, her brother now out of surgery. He's expected to make a full recovery. Meanwhile, as you just mentioned, his sister, the ex-wife of the man who pulled the trigger, is giving us some insight into how and why this all may have happened. Bonnie Fletcher spent 12 years married to Hans Peterson, the man accused of terrorizing a La Jolla neighborhood, and describes him as a person who doesn't fit the accusations.
Oh, I loved this man. He's brilliant. He's super smart. He was our class valedictorian at graduate school. Wonderful man.
Police say that wonderful man opened fire on his old neighbor and business partner while he slept at home with his wife just before 3 o'clock in the morning. Dr. Stephen Dowdy, a successful cancer researcher at UCSD, was shot in the hip. Next, they say Peterson drove over to Bonnie's brother's house and around 7 a.m., 4 hours later, turned the gun on him too. The bullet hit Ron Fletcher, a well-known real estate broker, in the stomach.
He grabbed the gun and pulled it down, and that probably saved his life.
Bonnie and Peterson had recently divorced and were in the process of haggling over property, like this home right next door to the first shooting where the couple once lived.
He was an angry man going through divorce.
A divorce, she says, turned violent, something she wouldn't talk about in our interview, but is quoted in court documents saying she was afraid for her life.
I had to take a couple guns into the sheriff's department and turn them in early on the divorce when the first restraining order came through.
Did you do that because of intuition or because of a specific threat? What made you decide to do that?
Afraid of them.
For the past year, she tells me she bounced around, staying at 10 different people's homes so Peterson couldn't find her. She says she took self-defense classes, and she's convinced that during the hours that passed between the first and second shooting, he was looking for her.
Do you think he went there to try and hurt you today? Do you think he went to your brother's house to try and kill you?
I think if I was there, I would not be sitting here today.
Now, Bonnie says that Peterson's personality made a 180 about 2 years ago when he stopped taking medication. She says that he had a bad skydiving accident in 1989, suffered head trauma, and took that medication for their entire relationship up until about 2 years ago. Why he decided to go on this rampage specifically this morning, she says she has no idea. In La Jolla tonight, Dan Haggerty, 10 News.
Incredible insight from her, and 10 News also went to court to get the documents on Peterson, which reveal a series of recent failures, including bankruptcy after a business venture went bust. They show Peterson and one of his alleged victims, Stephen Dowdy, were investors in a pharmaceutical company named Traversa Pharmaceuticals in Carmel Valley. According to these federal bankruptcy documents, the company went under last year.
All right, we want to give you a closer look at the distance between the shooting locations. The first location is right here on Waverly Place, and that is right next door to the home that was owned by the accused shooter, Hans Peterson. The second location is up here on Cottontail Lane. That's about a mile away from the first shooting scene.